I turn 25 on Wednesday, and I've been thinking a lot about the past, because 25 is like, it's still relatively young, I guess, but it's like the last major milestone. I could rent a car if I could drive, and so I've just been thinking a lot about the past and like what has led me to where I am, and a lot of people don't know this about me, but for a good while there, I was almost engaged. I'm engaged again now, but I was almost engaged to a woman back then. We lived together. It was my first time away out of my parents' house. I moved out so we could live together. We lived in this, I guess, relatively tiny apartment, and we had a roommate that we just found online. I didn't know anything about him. He showed up, he slept, he paid the rent, and then he went to work for the entire rest of the day. It was kind of a perfect situation, but that was Joseph. And we had this apartment, and it was going so good, and it was my first like real taste at love, and it was so it felt so real at the time, and I was planning on proposing, and I had everything ready. I had a really shitty ring because it's all I could afford. So I had everything ready. We were sitting on the couch. I was setting it up, like with the conversation. I was setting everything up, trying to get it, and then as I was getting out to like get on my knee and do the whole thing. I know like a couch top engagement is probably not the most romantic thing, but I thought it was nice in my head. I had everything planned out. I got up to get on my knee, and then right there, Joseph walks in. He trips over his own shoelaces and then slams face first into our glass coffee table. So, needless to say, it didn't happen. The proposal didn't happen. I immediately, instead of being on my knees to propose, I instead got on my knees in order to help this man get the shards of glass out of his face. So we paused everything, took him to the hospital, and it was not a fun time. If you can imagine, it's not a very enjoyable time to take a man bleeding out of his eye to. He got glass in his eye. It was not a fun time. We had to clean the car after. But anyway, we took him to the hospital, and at the time I was working full time, but my girlfriend, she had only a part-time job. She was looking for a second one, but only a part-time job at the time. And so while we were trying to keep him company as much as possible during the visitor hours, it ended up mostly being her. And they talked, they got to know each other significantly more. I knew fuck all about him. Like, I feel like one of the first questions you ask someone is like, hey, where are you from? Got nothing. I don't even think I remember ever bothering to ask. But yeah, they started talking, then they kept talking, and then they kept talking, and when he got out of the hospital, she left me for him. And it's like nothing against people that wear an eye patch, but it's kind of fucked up when the girl you're about to propose to leaves you for someone with a bunch of cotton and tape around his head. There's something that feels weird about that. But yeah, this is, I guess, a long time ago now. Like, this is a while ago, but there's like, there's an aspect of it where this was my first real taste at love, and I was going to propose. I had everything planned. It was so good, and it felt so real and so genuine and so perfect, and yet she left me after like a week-long conversation. And it leaves you feeling that if that wasn't love, will I ever be able to actually feel it? There's this it really lingers. It fucks with you. It's hard to know if anything that you're feeling is real anymore. If you're feeling the same that the other person is feeling, I don't know. Even before I engaged, we talked about our wedding, and I knew that it would be, I guess, like quick and cheap and easy because, you know, we were broke as fuck at the time. So it probably would have been one of those things where we'd get engaged and like turn around and just get married, and it would have been so beautiful, despite how small it was. And what I'm trying to say is that if it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I've been married a long time ago. I've been married a long time ago. Where did it come from? Where did it go? Where did it come from? Cotton Eye Joe.